Hi, thanks for joining me for vid number 3 on the stripping and rebuilding these hubs on the 110 Land Rover. And as you can see, I'll just show you. You can see this, the near side now is completely stripped. The only difference between this and the other side was obviously there's a steering arm comes across here, and you've got the this additional arm on this side which works the steering damper. All came apart really quickly. Okay, so let's just bring you inside here. So while I was waiting for parts to arrive, which has just turned up, happy days, I finished off while I was waiting by cleaning everything up. I've already knocked out the bearing at the ball and the Ralco joint at this side. I've yet to do it on the other side, so I'll show you how I did that. I stripped the calipers. Well, I just took them apart. I've got stainless steel pins coming because the state of these, they're absolutely rusted solid, so I've got some stainless steel pins coming for holding pads in. So I decided to clean it up and paint it. Same on the swivel housing, that's been cleaned up. I removed all the old gasket material, sanded it down like with some wet and dry and a bit of oil. Now I did find there is, like this, you can see there is a lot of play on that, so I think it's going to be the same on the other one, so definitely needed doing. Right, so I've also decided, as I've got to change these seals on both hubs, they're both exactly the same condition. I'm going to change the wheel bearings anyway. I'm this far in, not expensive, bought them as a kit, so let's get this box open and we'll see what's arrived. Okay, timestamps, skip forward the bits you want, but for some reason, with my other channel, I like doing unboxing videos, and they seem to be popular, so doing the same this time. Now, I ordered everything I needed from Paddock Spares. I use them a lot. They're pretty reliable. Prices aren't too bad. Just that information, the total cost of all the parts for both sides for complete rebuild came to about £150-ish, I think. Okay, first part is new mud shield for the near side, because as I took the old one off, it just fell in half. The one this side, on the other side, you can see the condition differently. This I should probably replace, but we'll see. It's holding together. Out of the way. Okay, this is the hub kit. So the ball kit, rather than buy lots of individual bits and pieces, I opted for this. Yeah, which is a full kit. So you get obviously the big ball seal, and you get all the gaskets you need, and there's the I think that's a, yeah, that's a little, it's not a spacer, fuck it, I can't remember the word now. Anyway, that drops inside the Ralco joint at the bottom. It's a shim, yeah, basically it's a shim of some sort. And we've got a new swivel pin here, new Ralco joint for that. I hope you can see all this. We've got the one-shot grease, which is great. Comes with shims, and there should also be, yeah, there's the rear seal that goes in the back here. So I think these kits are about £46. It's got pretty much everything you need. And there's the lower swivel bearing complete. So it doesn't supply a new lower swivel pin. So I ordered one, they're about £5, so I think it's worth doing. So that's that one. Okay, there should be a wheel bearing kit here somewhere as well. That's got to be in here, isn't it? Oh, it's just like Christmas. Oh yeah, there we go. You can see there. This is a wheel bearing kit. One-shot grease. Gives us a new seal that goes in the hub, which I needed anyway. 2 new bearings. Gasket seal. We've got a new tab washer, a new little circlip there as well, and the hub gasket. And I think these were about £18 complete, so it's just as well to buy it all together as it was to keep trying to buy all the individual bits. Like I said, I was this far in, there's no point not replacing those bearings really. They've been in there 12 years, not exactly high mileage, but you know, it's just worth doing. I don't know what this is. Ah, there you go. These are the lower swivels. Again, it wasn't worth putting the old ones in. It's new bearings, everything else is new. These are about £5. What's the point in not replacing them? Okay, enough excitement of unboxing. Let's get the stuff sorted out and then we can start putting things back together. Happy days. Right, got everything we need to start putting this hubs back together. First of all, we've got to knock out the Rayco bearing here, and obviously the roller cage bearing here on this side. Hope you see that okay. And then we've got the hub assembly here. Now notice this is the passenger side one. What the actual hub that we filmed taking apart was the driver's side. Now I did put that back together yesterday just to prove that I've got all the correct parts and to get my methodology right. And so that's here, back on, and it went together pretty well. So I learnt a few things from doing that. So obviously when we film this one now, I can pass on that information, which will hopefully save you some pain. Right, so I'll get the camera set up. First thing to do, knock out these parts. Yeah, they need some fairly big persuasion. So I knock out this one first. That gives me access then to get a tool through that fits the shoulder of the other bearing, and it pops out quite easily. So I'll set the camera up and we'll do that. I'm doing this on the floor because it takes a bit of thumping and it's just no good trying to do that on a bench. So I've got a big socket here to give clearance for the joint to come through. It's going to take a few good sharp knocks to get it out. It's not moving yet. Now it's just starting to go. There we go. So that's that joint out. I did find quite a lot of wear on the other joint in the end, so these definitely need doing. And like I said, I'm also doing the wheel bearings. So now I've got to knock out the bearing housing here. Same again, except this time I've got a little socket. A 24mm socket fits perfectly over the back of the bearing. And that's that one out. So we go, just clean up these surfaces and then we can, the next one's pressed in, new parts. Okay, we've just cleaned any sort of residue, bits of crud out of the shoulder that this sits on. Now I've just got the new bearing here, just lightly tapped in place using the old bearing just on top, just to get it started off. I'll probably use a piece of wood now. Though the bearing surface is so hard, as long as you're doing gentle taps, you won't burr it at all. Check it's going in squarely. Yeah, it's going in, but the wood is softening the blow a little bit, so it's gonna. Yeah, it's going in. It's fairly evenly, I think. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, that's down on his shoulder perfectly. No damage to that. That sounds like I'm really whacking, as long as you're not angling the mallet. You just don't want to burr anything over, but that's absolutely fine. That took a little bit more batting than the last one, actually. It could have been because it went in slightly crooked. They've only got to be slightly off, and they will get a bit tighter, so you have to sort of see which side is up and then give that a couple of cracks, and then it goes. Right, next is the other bush. That sits on a shoulder, so you can't like over install it or anything. That looks dirty, but it's got a bit of grease on it that came in the packaging. Again, with this, it's kind of nice to try and get it in square. Gonna use the old one to start it. It's looking okay. These are incredibly tight to get in. You saw how much I had to hit it to get it out. It is sliding in slowly. Nearly there. And that is about 1 mil to go. Obviously you've got the luxury of a hydraulic press. That would probably work better. Yeah, that's them in nicely now. Okay, and no damages to the surface at all. Okay, next stage, we'll assemble this into the housing. Right, okay, hope you can see everything here. Right, got everything I need. So first thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of grease into the new bearing. Now I know we're going to use the liquid one-shot grease stuff, but I know I do like to start off things with a bit of fresh grease anyway. It'll mix in okay, I'm sure. It'll also help hold the bearing into place in the housing. Okay, now I've got everything else ready to go. So we just start to drop that in. We'll just put a little bit of a smear over that. And one thing I did notice was the kit didn't come with a gasket for the bottom swivel pin, which I found was a bit cheap really. I thought they should have supplied that. So I've used a little bit of Loctite around instead, rather than have to wait for a gasket to arrive. I'm just going to gently slide that in. That's the first one in. I've left the grease on here to go into the Ralco joint. Now the joint did come with its thrust washer already fitted in the bottom, but they do supply an extra one in the kit as well. This is the first time I'm fitting this, so there we go. First thing notice I was going to say is it comes with shims as well for the top swivel. Now on the first one I did, I did actually fit all the shims to start with, because we've got to do a preload test, and more become clear once it's together. But I did find, in fact, I had to use an additional shim at one of the old shims to get the preload correct on it. Okay, that's all gone in quite nicely. So we can screw up the bottom bracket, bottom pin. Now remember to fit your mud shield bracket. Don't do what I did, which was to fit it the wrong way round, and I had to take it off. When I got the hub together, I was spinning the hub around thinking, oh, that's nice and smooth, and I was hearing this horrible squealy squeak. And what it was, I'd put this on facing the wrong way, and so it was just touching the disc. So I was thinking something was grinding in there, but it was just that. So it's got to fit away from the disc. So this is the side that goes onto the fuck's sake, I can't speak. The main axle, so it heads that way. These gloves are all well and good, but they're a bit of a pain. There's also a little bit of a nodule on the bottom swivel, and that heads to the outside. I think it's obvious because if you get it wrong, the holes don't line up particularly well. Okay, that's coming up. That's actually feeling quite nice already. I've got to put the bolts in to start with. Now these bolts have to come off again once it's on the vehicle, because the flexi hose bracket goes on the top here. Right, so I'm just going to get a couple of spanners to tighten those up to a certain tightness, and then we can fit the gasket and the seal. Now if you remember, when I took the other hub apart, I thought there was an O-ring inside because it's stretchy. All it was it was the spring outside of it'd come off the seal, it'd broken, and it was so gunked up it just looked like a piece of rubber. So yeah, mystery solved there. Right, just get the spanners for this and we'll get everything tightened up. Okay, 13mm for the bottom swivel, 17 for the top swivel, just in case you're interested. The other thing I did while the hubs were off is to make sure I could get the the little fillers here. So you've got a filler here, and you've got the drain at the bottom. Make sure you can get those undone. It's just easier to do things like that before it's back on the vehicle, I think. Make sure everything's okay. There is a torque setting for these, which I'll do up later. I think it's 65 Newton meters on the top. I can't remember what the bottom one is. But you may have to undo these a couple of times when we're doing this setup, this preload thing. The preload is, all it is you tighten everything up, and this makes the ball obviously go a little bit tighter, and that has to be set to, I think it's between 3.6 kilograms and 4.5 kilograms. So the way we do it is we'll invert it and push on one of the arms, and it should move the swivel within those figures. All to become clear. Yeah, I know whether to film when you're doing these bits. It's kind of nice to see the whole process, but it can become pretty dull. So I don't know. May fast forward again. Right, they're pretty tight. Now that doesn't feel very tight to me yet, so I think we're going to need to lose a shim. So before we do that, we'll fit the seal. Now again, what I did was I just put a little bit of grease around the ball when I put the seal over it, because the seal, once you tighten it down, it can be really quite tight. I will clean a lot of this grease off afterwards just to give it a little bit of initial lubrication. And obviously I clean the shoulder out where this sits as well. See that? Yeah, that's smooth, quite nice and smooth. Okay, gasket. Now for some reason, this vehicle has two of the plates. In the manual it only shows one. Not sure why that is. Whether the guy's servicing it out of budget to use up. Should be pretty stupid. Okay, just start to get these lined up. And we'll fit all these now. This is going to be pretty boring, so I'll probably stop the camera in a minute while we do this. Now, second thing I discovered is don't tighten these fully, because that puts pressure on the seal, which will increase the loading on the ball, which will skew your figures for your preload on the bearings. So I just did them down just around finger tight, just under, so they weren't sort of bearing too heavily on the seal. And then we can do this check. But like I say, that's feeling, well, we'll see in a minute. That's feeling a little, not loose, but maybe not be far out. Okay, that's as far as we'll go with that. So I'll turn the camera off, we'll invert this up the other way, I'll clamp it, and then you can see us do this preload. Okay, this isn't very scientific, is it? In the manual it shows the hub being held down, a spring balance being put on the steering linkage side, and you just pull it until spring balance then indicates how much pressure it's taken to actually move the ball. I've got a clamp on here just to hold that side down, because obviously it's easy for somebody helping you, but I don't have that luxury. So I don't have my spring balance handy, so I'm going to be using these old kitchen scales, if you can see those. So what I'm going to do now is hold this side here and just press. That's 3 kilos, 3.5, and it starts to move. So yeah, it's a little bit short. So what I'm going to do is take off one of the thin shims and bolt it back up again, and we'll try again. Okay, well I ended up having to take a couple of shims out. So let's try it again. And I read the scale wrong earlier when I read to you. That was only £3, not not 3 kilos, so it's quite way out. So here we go. That's 3 kilos now. 3.8. 4. So it's around the 4 kilos. So that's in spec. So happy with that. You don't want it too tight, because obviously it's going to add additional wear to your bearings and stuff. But obviously you don't want it too loose either, or that end up with play on it. So yeah, that feels nice and smooth. So I'm going to tighten these up now, which will increase a bit of pressure on the ball, but at least the reading's correct. So I'll do that off camera. So that's the hub pretty much done actually. So next to be the disc hub. I've got to change the bearings on that, so we'll do that. Oh, finally, before we go to the next bit, I've also got to just clean up in here. If you can see actually. Yeah, clean up in here and fit the new seal into there. So I'll do that. It's just a simple thing, drop it on and tap it back, and then we're done on this. Okay, I've had to swap cameras because my other battery went flat on the other one. Yeah, it's a slightly lower resolution, but I think you can see okay. Now I've already got the seal and the bearing out of this hub. I just used a large socket down through here, tapped it, and that pushed the roller cage with the seal out. Now to get the race out, I'm going to have to use a drift just on the shoulder there and tap him out, and then flip this over and do the same again on the other side, and that works. That's usually the easy bit. Getting them back in on this one in particular, it's kind of quite a long way down. It's a little bit more in depth. A press would be great, but I just use a punch. But I'm going to I'll put you on the stand. I'll just knock these out anyway. You'll see what I'm talking about. Incidentally, I got the seal in here. Okay, it's just dropped it on and tapped it in with a piece of wood over the top. Absolutely fine. And although it's on the desk, this might still tap out okay. It's definitely moving. There we go. I've also got to stand on a couple of bits of wood. Just to get the last bit of clearance on it. I should have done it earlier. There we go. Hub over. And that's the race out. And just do the same with the other one. Just got a little bit further to go. Don't need the wood for this one because obviously it's got clearance to pop out. It's coming down. There we go. That's that one out. I wasn't sure about replacing the bearings, but we're so far in, it seemed precious little point in not replacing them. I say they've been on here for 12 years. I've done a reasonable bit of mileage in the vehicle. I mean, it's my main drive. Not that now I'm retired, I don't do so much mileage anyway. So just going to clean up the shoulders. And you can also see what you're doing then. Okay, right, I'll get the bearing kits out and we'll pop new ones in. Yeah, this kit's great. It's got everything you need in there, including the hubcap seal type thing, and you've got your grease with it as well, and gaskets and things, and also a new seal to go in the back. So that's happy days really. So I've got opened up the bag for the first one. And all I'm going to do here is drop the new one on, just to hopefully get it fairly level. And then using the old race, just use that to just start tapping. Just keep checking that it's going in fairly evenly, which it seems to be. And these are bloody hard. I mean, you'd be hard pushed to actually damage them, I think. Well, it's got a little bit further to go down yet, so one will probably have to use. You can only use this for so far, otherwise that'll get stuck in the housing. So I tend to use carefully punch the broad flat bit on it. I say it'd be nice to have a press really to do this sort of thing. That's going down, but it takes a while. It's a laborious thing to do, so I'm not going to record all that because, well, it's dull enough as it is, isn't it? And it'll be the same on the other side. No, obviously this is deeper and it has to drop in quite a distance. Obviously this is the old race, so I don't want to get stuck. It drops in so far and then you can start tapping it down again using the old race to start with, and then you might just have to finish off with a punch just to get it down onto the shoulder. Okay, we'll crack on with those, and then at the end of that we'll put a greased up roller set in the back end. That's the front end, sorry, in first, because the seal goes over the top of it, so you've got to remember to fit your race before you fit the seal. Speaking from experience. Right, let's go on with that then. Okay, that's the race is all tapped in fine. So the next thing is to grease up one of the bearing sets and drop in before you fit the seal. Now, interesting, I found, if you remember when I stripped the other hub, in fact both hubs, I found this seal was damaged in both instances, and that's because I think I misread the manual when I first fitted them. It says to put the lip seal, the seal of the lip, into inwards. It just says inwards, so I thought it meant in towards the hub, mounting it in, I think you can see, that way round. Now the thing is, that means that way, when it goes onto the hub, it doesn't want to fit. It really doesn't want to fit, and that's what damaged, I reckon, damaged that lip. Turn it around the other way, it presses on absolutely beautifully, and you can see it's sealed on both sides of the seal quite nicely. It almost wants to pop on and off. So I'm putting them in this way out, so it's going to drop in like that. So I'm going to grease up the bearing, drop that in. I've got the wool. This is the same sort of grease anyway, so I use this stuff to start. This bearing grease anyway. It comes with a sachet of the stuff anyway, doesn't it? But this is here, saves opening the other one. So I'd like to give a really good coating in there. Kind of force it in. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I should have checked. Force it into all the openings, into all the rollers. Don't skimp on it really, innit? Okay, I think that's probably plenty in there. So just drop that inside. Yeah, happy days. Put a bit around there to make the seal drop in a bit easier. Okay. I probably can't see what I'm doing, so I'm just going to drop the seal in now. So I'm going to have to put it down this way. Now I can start to press that in. Yeah, and what I'll do, same thing, using a very, very flat blunt punch, is just gradually tap the seal down until it's fully home. That worked last time, I'm sure it's going to work this time. I'll take these off, they're pretty greasy before I turn the camera off, and then we're actually ready to start putting stuff back on the vehicle. Happy days. Right, we're finally ready to put the rebuilt hub back onto the vehicle, so I'm just going to put a little dash of oil around the new seal in the back here, just so when we put the drive shaft through, it's not running through dry. Okay, make sure we get this up the right way. pretty heavy, but hopefully, yeah, that's looking right. Okay, so got a few started, just hold it in place. I've actually still got to get, don't know if you can see here, this thing, it's still got a bit of split pin stuck in there, so I've got to get that out yet. So I'm just going to carry on getting these bolts in. If you remember, these are 14mm. They got splined kind of heads on them, hope you can see that. So obviously a spanner like that fits fine on there. You can't get a socket on them, so it's a little bit tedious. Once they get in so far, I can just about fit a little ratchet spanner on them. So right, so I'm going to continue just bolting that together, and once that's done, we'll be ready to put the drive shaft in with the CV joint. So right, we'll catch up then. Okay, that's all bolted up nice and tight. I do them up as tight as I can by hand, obviously, with the spanner, and then I give the spanner a crack with a mallet as well, just to make sure they're up really tight. Okay, now we've got the CV bit, and we've got obviously a longer shaft on this side. So just kind of gently get that through. Hopefully it should start to get located somehow. Eventually. Okay, it's going to take a little bit of thought. There's a bit of crap on there as well, I'll get that cleaned up. Okay, I'm going to have to think again. It's not quite locating, but I'm sure I'll get there in a second. Well, that was a little bit of swearing, but yeah, because it's such a long shaft, it's very easy to mislocate it. You just kind of keep wiggling it around, getting it further, and in the end it just goes straight in. It's one of these things that's going to work first hit, or you're going to be doing a lot of swearing, so recommend a fresh cup of tea. That seemed to help. Right, what I'm going to do now is, before I put the stub axle on, is I'm going to actually put some of the one-shot liquid kind of grease stuff in. So I'm just going to squeeze a bit of that in there now. I probably didn't cut very much of the should have probably cut a bigger slot at the end of the bag, but just because I've only got the bag, I don't have a nozzle to get it in through the usual filler, which is here. I will actually squirt some through there later, but I figured at least if I put some of this in there now, I know there's going to be a fair bit in there. Yeah, it's turning around okay. Well, I don't want to put so much in that it actually starts to overflow out the hub, but some over the back of the CV. Okay, that's almost safe. Right, we'll go and get the stub axle now and its gasket. Okay, got a new gasket on there, got everything ready to go, except I've just forgotten to put the guard on. Okay, gasket. Right, Now it's got a slot obviously for the keyway, so I'm making sure that's at the top. Got to go, just line that up gently. Okay, the shaft will move back and forth a little bit. Make sure it's always that it's free, and you can still rotate it. Yeah. See, something's not quite lined up right. Oh, bloody, these gloves are a pain in the ass, but they are necessary sometimes. Yeah, you've got to make sure everything's locating correctly. Otherwise, if you tighten these up and it's not quite right, it will lock up. Just check the CV. And joints are all moving around freely. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I think we're good to go. Right, I should get these on and torque down. If you remember, we've got to remove these top bolts on here, I think you can see, to get the bracket back on the top. So I'll do that as well, and then we're ready to put on the next hub. Okay, we're nearly there. I've used the rest of the grease, the one-shot green stuff. I squirted that into the chamber of this, so that's all in there now. I thought it's easier to fit the mud guard now, the mud protector. Just what I did, because it doesn't quite fit. It bolts on behind here okay, it bolts on here okay, but this slot here is way too low, so I've had to drill through and put a stainless steel self tapper in there. So that's that. So just going to add a little bit of grease now, just this surface where the sill's going to go over, just to ease that on when we push the hub on. I suppose we could, a smear there isn't going to hurt anything, hopefully. Now on the other side it was really tight, it took me a couple of attempts to get it on. Emergency services going past, sounds like Detroit, doesn't it? Right. Hopefully. Oh, beautiful. And now feel that just snap straight on onto the hub. Just check this isn't touching anywhere. It might be. Well, let's get the other bearing on first before we make any assumptions. So I've got the other bearing here, so obviously I've got to pack this with grease yet. You can see what I'm doing. It's so bright out here again, I can't actually see what I'm doing. Well, I can see what I'm doing, I just can't see what the camera's seeing. Because if that's still grating, that's going to be a pain in the ass, because it means I've got to take the bloody hub off again to modify that mud guard. Mud shield, it's not mud guard, mud shield, Stephen. It's not a bicycle. So it's not that interesting watching people do this, really, is it? But then again, I'm hoping some of these videos, although they're a bit laborious and you get fed up of hearing me speak, I'm hoping that it's going to help somebody out there who's going to attempt this. Forewarned is forearmed, isn't it, and all that kind of shit. Okay, that's quite a bit of grease on there now. Right, I think we're safe to go. It's got to push in, I don't think it's in yet. There we go. I think it's just touching. Oh, I see, yeah. That's right, I can bash that. I'll just beat that out of the way in a minute. So that's on there. And we've got our tabs to go on. there might be a... Yeah, I think I might be missing a spacer, because I think there's normally a spacer on here, and then you put the first nut on. In fact enough, the kit only came with one nut and a new tab washer and a new circlip. So I'm going to have to go and find the other tab washer or use the one that came off. So bear with me. Well, yeah, there we go. It's on the other bearing. I would have thought they'd have supplied this with the kit, but there's so many variations on the Land Rovers. I mean, this isn't a Defender, it's a 110. So that's probably why. There we go. So, give that a little wipe again. Let's just make sure that the bearing will get pushed back into the housing properly, into its race. Yeah, I see it moving back. Yeah, now that's really catching on that guard. So I'm going to have to bash that back out the way. I think I can do that. Yeah, slightly different from the other guard. Like I say, that's a bit of a bloody pain, isn't it? Okay, we'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit. I don't want to over tighten the bearings. No, that bloody guard is going to have to get pushed out. Okay, bear with me again. Well, there we are. Beautiful. Yeah, I pulled the hub off and just gave it an introduction to Mr. Mallet, and he didn't argue anymore. So obviously drop the hub back on, first nut on, do it up with the right tool up to really firm, but don't go cranking it with a big bar through here or anything like that. It doesn't need it. It's just to get those bearings into place so there's no rock on them, and then the next nut goes on with the tab washer, and you do that one up really tight, and that just stops everything from slipping around. Tab washer beaten over with a punch, and we're good to go. So next thing is to get the actual drive hub on. So I've got the gasket here, and there's a bit of end float on here, as you see, which is good. So I might need to put a bolt in there to pull it back if the hub pushes it too far forwards. Let's get a couple of bolts through. I mean, overall this has not been a bad job, really. It's just a bit of a lengthy one, and you need the weather on your side if you're like me and work outside for a lot of it. Okay. There we are. I'm a bit irritated with myself actually, because normally I clean all the bolts up, I wire brush everything, and I've just failed to do that in this case. Not on all of it, but on some of it. Yeah, you'll see that drive shaft has gone back in again. Just pull that. It's going to take a little bit of persuading to come out, but yeah, once this is back, this should pull forward, and there should be space to get the circlip over it. Okay, well, rather than you watch me do bolts up, we'll get back to. Okay, right, that's done up so far, and what I've done now is got the bar to lock it into place. Now I can just get a torque wrench on it. Softly, softly. That's all about there. Okay, I think we're good. New wheel bearings, they can settle in a bit actually, so don't be surprised if you get a tiny bit of play after a few thousand miles, and you might have to then take the hub off again, take the tab washer off and just readjust them. I think I've done that once since I put the bearings in last time, so it's not like it's going to be a regular thing. It shouldn't be. Okay, that's all good. This bolt here is just so I can pull this back and forth. I'll come out in a minute. Now I'm not sure it's going to need its little spacer here. I think what they do, there we go, they're shims, so I think we're only going to need, yeah, that size shim. Perfect. And yes, I did find them finally. Not going to be using my expensive precision pliers. There we go, that's in. Job's a good one. Lovely. So next thing to do is to get the broken bit of split pin out of there, put the link arm through so I can join the steering together, and the job's finished. Wheels back on. I do have to put the calipers back on. Obviously that would be quite useful to have them on there. Not fitting them yet because I don't have the new split pins. I ordered some stainless steel split pins that the pads sit on, so they're not here yet sadly, otherwise we could have done that today. So that'll be another day. I'm not sure I'm going to video that. It's pretty obvious how it goes together. The pads are okay, so don't have to worry about those. Now I do have to make up a new brake pipe to go from the flexi down onto the caliper on that side, because that last one was pretty ropey, the pipe, when I took it off. So finally, last thing in the kit is this. Nice new hub cover. There we go. Well, I hope some of that's been useful to you. If anybody, can I say, anybody's starting out to do this, just take it off the stand. So yeah, a few jobs to do yet, but I mean, I've done this pretty much. Well, yeah, I started this again this morning, rebuild. So without filming, you can do it in a few hours really. Once everything's cleaned up and ready to go, and you've got all your bits, you're away. But there's always instance like with the mud protector there. That was just a pain in the ass, but it was a simple solution. Okay, I hope you enjoyed some of that. More coming up. I'm going to be doing some panel replacement on the Transit, and I'm still got a bit more work to do on the old trusty Landy before the MOT, which I think's up in October. But anyway, I'll be announcing that. So yeah, we'll catch up again soon. Bye now.